Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is actually an unboxing video. Haven't done one of these in a while. Thank you to two people, Jonathan Lindsey, who's been very generous, and Mike OCP, one of my dear friends on here for many years and hopefully many years to come. One of my brothers from another mother, same with Efri, Michael Keane, Fabio John, and etc. But Mike OCP, dear friend, I one of the guys I trust with my life. Same with Efri and Michael and Fabio and such. And I appreciate, whenever someone sends a gift, I know there's gonna be someone who doesn't like me go, yeah, you want people to send you free stuff. I'm not gonna say no to free shit. Sorry. Most people don't say no to free stuff. Lo and behold, yes. If something's free, usually I like most people do. You walk down the street, there's a free $20 bill. Yeah, I'll take it. Great, now I got $20. So, go figure. So, let's start with Jonathan Lindsey. I have not opened it yet. Thank you, Jonathan Lindsey, for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. I don't want to show his address, so being careful with that. There's a letter that I will read. And you have 3 items. Ah, nice. Interesting enough, because he's been requesting these Batman the Animated Series Volume 3. He's been requesting a lot of the Batman reviews. I really do appreciate it. It's been interesting to get into the show. I'm not sure what Volume 3... Oh, the final 28 episodes. I getcha. I heard in the grapevine that the later episodes are not as good as like the first season or so, but that's very cool. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Next up, despite me not being big on Scarlett Johansson, I actually remember not minding the film for what it is, and that is the Ghost in the Shell. Yes, I do like this more than the anime. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not a big anime guy, although I do like Akira, I do like Ninja Scroll, there's a handful of others. I could not get into the anime of Ghost in the Shell. Yes, I preferred this. Scarlett Johansson is not one of my favorite actresses because a lot of times she does come off as one note, monotone. I guess I kind of go with it here because what type of character she's playing. But I mean, I think there's many better actresses like Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, I think, is a better actress. Charlize Theron, I don't agree with some of her politics, but I do think she's a better actress than this. But I do remember not minding the film, as an action, special effects type of movie. And yeah, I remember not minding this film. So thank you for that. And I did know he was sending this. This is the one he mentioned. Because the last time he sent one was Black Sheep, and now we got Tommy Boy. Didn't I have this on Blu-ray? Very nice to have this. I would say one of my favorite comedies. If I did a top 20 comedies, I'm not sure if I made top 10. I mean, that's a hard list to think of. But I did really... I love this movie. Black Sheep as well. I think I did review all of the Chris Farley films. And Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja, I would say those are my top 3. Chris Farley's greatly missed. We lost him way too soon. He was excellent with David Spade. Like I said, Black Sheep is a lot of fun. I would say this is my favorite. Black Sheep I did laughs out of. I did a bit more laughs out of this. I want to turn the road to a goddamn bridge above me. And you have a commentary by Peter Seidel, 4 featurettes, 15 extended scenes, 6 alternate tapes, 19 TV spots. Holy shit. This might have been all on the DVD. This is the Holy Shnighty edition. Too bad there's no commentary with David Spade. That would have been nice to hear a commentary with David Spade. Talked about his experiences working with Chris Farley. But I believe he's on... He might be on the featurettes, I can't remember. But yeah, love this movie. Thank you so much for that, man. So, before I get to Mike's, I'm going to read the letter. Least I can do. Sorry, let me clear my throat so I'm not... Should have done that with soda. Dear Matt, hope you enjoy these gifts. I do. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if anyone wants to send me a gift, let me know. Nobody's my favorite movie of the year. I agree. I would say Nobody, Willy's Wonderland are my 2 favorites of the year. I did not mind Boss Level for what it was. I did not mind Run, Hide, Fight for what it was. But yeah, Nobody is my favorite of the film as well. I saw it after I got my first shot of vaccination along with Kong vs. Godzilla in theaters, as it felt good seeing a movie in theaters, and the box office returned thanks to vaccinations. Yeah, that's true. Like Fast 9, and Black Widow are making some money at the box office. I did see the new Mortal Kombat in the theater. I thought it was mediocre, but maybe the sequel will be better. I doubt it, because very rarely do you have a sequel that's better than the original. There are exceptions. The Purge Anarchy, I think, is much better than the first Purge. I think Mechanic Resurrection with Jason Statham and Tommy Lee Jones is better than the first Mechanic movie, but to me that's rare. 1995 and Scorpion's Revenge were a bit better. I would say a lot better. I also saw A Quiet Place 2, Conjuring 3 in theaters. They were worth it. I'm glad audiences are supporting pure entertainment with those Con and Nobody, as the woke SJW pandering BS movies don't sell, but pure entertainment does. Well, I mean, Black Widow is making money, and I guess Space Jam 2 is making money, which is too bad. Nice reviews on Spider-Man the Animated Series. I enjoyed that since I was 12 when it debuted, as I knew about it since 1992 in Comic Scene and Wizard Magazine, and couldn't wait. I do remember Wizard Magazine. I remember collecting a number of Wizard magazines from back in the day. Sadly, I don't have a lot of them left. What was cool about Wizard, like one of the things I liked was the casting call. So they would think of like a comic book movie, and then they would have like casting call. I remember one time they had X-Men, and they had like Jean-Claude Van Damme as Gambit, which I could see. I noticed he could not... Yes, this is about Spider-Man, the 90s cartoon. Yes, I noticed he could not punch because on Saturday morning he can't punch human characters, but Batman can because Batman was weekday afternoon and nighttime sometimes. Well, the other thing I read up was that... This is apparently for real. Batman was looked at as more fantasy, because the 1930s aesthetics, that's more fantastical than Spider-Man, which is in modern times. So on Christmas with the Joker, do you think Joker is quite a dick even to Summer Gleason, as he said about her mother being on the train, as she sheds tears at the thoughts of her mom dying, and him laughing about it makes him quite an evil prick? Well, Joker is always an evil prick. Robin was just there for the holidays because he was in college at the time in that episode. Last Laugh is one of my favorite episodes since I was 10 when it aired on Fox, and that music has been in my memory since it's that memorable. That Captain Clown death was inspired by Terminator's ending. Oh, okay, I can see that. Terminator, yeah. Cat and Claw is another one of my favorite episodes since I was 10, and I agree Catwoman Selena is a babe on the show, as I don't blame Batman when he whistled at her in the scene. You ever notice Selina outside her costume resembles Michelle Pfeiffer with the hair and all? Just like Penguin on the show before redesign looks like DeVito's Penguin. I didn't know she looked like Michelle Pfeiffer, but I can see it a bit now. Both Batman and Batman Returns were in production in late May 30 years ago, and Warner Brothers forced Bruce Timm to make Selina and Penguin look like their movie counterparts to tie in with the movies, as the show even uses Jack Napier. The 30s, 40s, 50s style aesthetics mixed with modern times, and so on. Adrienne Barbeau was perfect casting for Catwoman. Do you think the episode has a James Bond feel? I never got a James Bond feel for it, but I do agree, Adrienne Barbeau. I'm like, is that Adrienne Barbeau? Holy shit. Just, yeah, I'm a fan of Adrienne Barbeau ever since The Thief from New York, The Fog, so it was nice to have her voice Catwoman. Harley and Ivy is another one of my favorite episodes. It really goes into the psyche of Harley well, and they are a bisexual couple. Really? And that scene where those college guys were saying they were hot and going Ayuda at them reminds me of Commando when Cindy was called hot by the cops, then she got that rocket launcher to blow the back of the car. And yes, Batman knew of the toxic landscape Ivy was in and put a formula he injected himself with to survive. I agree, Joker and Harley's relationship is toxic. After all, he's an asshole. I agree. The Forgotten is another one of my favorite episodes, and that music score is memorable and kind of cool hand look with Batman, an interesting idea about him getting amnesia and freeing a chain gang from a criminal. Vendetta is a decent episode. I didn't care for that much. And Croc got a redesign you might like on season 3 better as he looks more like Croc-like. Well, that's cool. Bad as a Hatter is another one of my favorite episodes. I knew Roddy McDowall since the 80s for Fright Night and Planet of the Apes and more. Yeah, I really miss Roddy McDowall. He was also in the 60s Batman show as Bookworm, and he's one of my favorite actors. To be honest, I haven't seen much of the 60s Batman show. I just haven't. I've seen clips, but I did not watch the show growing up, and all I've seen is clips. I might have seen the 60s movie, but yeah, like Roddy McDowall as Bookworm, didn't know that. See No Evil is another one of my favorites of mine, and yes, the director is a DC Comics fan, and he loves Batman since it was aired in 92 when he was 15, and that's why he casted Elizabeth Moss, who was 9 years old in 1991. So you mean the director of The Invisible Man? I thought you meant the director of the episode. The director of... what was his name? He was the writer of Saw. He did an Upgrade. Fuck. Not James Wan, the other guy. I remember it after. But, so he was a fan of Batman. Okay. He was 15. That's why he cast Elizabeth Moss. She was 9 years old when she did the voice in that episode. She does recall playing Kimberly on the show and how she enjoyed the show. Nice to hear that Tremor guy be the villain. Oh, Michael Gross. Yeah. Michael Gross, underrated actor. Prophecy of Doom sucks ass. One of my least favorite episodes. Nostromo's is lame as hell. It was pure garbage as Mike hates it as I do. But you don't think it's as bad as Batman in My Basement. No, Batman in My Basement is way worse. But Prophecy of Doom I thought was mediocre. Be a Clown is a very nice episode, you have to admit, has a fun finale. It was alright, but I thought it was one of the lesser Joker episodes that I've seen. The kid is quite likable, and you're right, the dad was a dick as he made the party for himself for political campaigning, then a party for his son, as he did change at the end, learn to pay attention to his son. So our Forgotten, Harley and Ivy, Mad as a Hatter, Cat and Claw, Be a Clown, See No Evil, and Last Laugh favorite episodes of yours now. I would go Mad as a Hatter, yes. See No Evil, yes. Forgotten, decent. Not one of my favorites, but decent. Harley and Ivy, decent. Cat and Claw, okay. Be a Clown, okay. No, Be a Clown, decent. Last Laugh, okay. I would say of those ones you listed, I would say See No Evil and Mad as a Hatter I would put in the favorite episodes list. Since you enjoyed the 2017 Ghost in the Shell, do you think it surpasses the overrated anime movie? I was never a fan of anime as I was more into... Well, yeah, Ninja Scroll, Akira, I like those. Yeah, honestly, I like it more than the anime. I know I'm going to get people pissed, but I don't like the anime. I like this for what it was. Which is worse, Scary Movie 5, The Visit, or Go Ballbusters? Oh, Ghostbusters 2016. Which is worse? Technically, Scary Movie 5 is worse. Because Scary Movie 5 has a fucking... Isn't like a bunch of pool cleaning equipment have an orgy? Or a party or something? That alone makes it worse. The Visit... Okay, of the three you listed, I would say Scary Movie 5 is the worst. The Visit is the most overrated, because that got box office and people liked it. I have no idea why the fuck people like The Visit when a goddamn kid gets a fucking dirty diaper to his face and an old ass grandma moves around like a fucking cheetah underneath her goddamn house even though she's 80 years old. And no supernatural. She just moves like a fucking cheetah. Just a stupid twist. Just M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's an idiot. That's the most overrated and fucking dumb. And Ghostbusters 2016 is the most offensive because they shoot the fucking ghost logo in the dick. Like, fuck you, Ghostbusters. Fuck you, man. We're gonna shoot this in your dick. How about you suck my dick, Ballbusters? But technically, Scary Movie 5 is the worst. Now, Child's Play 2 commentary. Love that movie since I was 8. Seeing it in theaters, it surpasses the first movie and very satisfying sequel. I don't know if it surpasses the first movie, but it is a worthy sequel. I still don't know which is my favorite Child's Play. See the Friday Night... Okay. People say to you, me, and Mike, see the Fright Night remake as its own, or what about The Fly and The Blob? Well, The Fly and The Blob are good movies. Well, I think the Fright Night remake sucks on its own. Yeah, they could have done something that respects the original, like the original meta remake idea of someone making a movie called Fright Night. It's done for real within the movie. The remake disses on the original with lines like, Jerry, what kind of stupid name for a vampire is that? Or having the original Jerry actor. Yeah. Oh, I know his name. Chris Sarandon. Play a character killed off by the new Jerry Dandridge. Plus, bastardized versions of the same characters as the originals, plus is a lazy retread of the original classic. I agree. The Blob and The Fly were vast improvements on the original movies because technology for creature practical effects improved since 1958, and that the originals didn't have the budget to do the ideas justice and created stronger characters. Plus, they didn't have the same characters as the originals. They created their own characters and created their own versions of the originals. They created their own interpretations of the originals as they were loosely based on the original movies, as possibly as they could be, especially the Blob being a biological weapon that was shot in space instead of an alien, and that's why there are two great remakes. Friday Night is just shit because it's like, hey, we're different but still have the same characters, only turned unlikable, and some general plot, but we're going to execute it lazily without any gravitas or punch or any of the impact of the original. I agree. Hey, we got a vampire like Jerry, only this new Jerry's forgettable with no charisma, who the original Jerry Dandridge was memorable and quotable as he's still memorable to this day. The original Jerry was a guy you want to party with despite being an evil vampire. The new Jerry was a do-bro vampire jock guy. The 80s Fly and Blob movies, they separated themselves as far as they could from the 50s originals. The only thing they had in common was the titles. They had a Blob and a Fly in them. Friday Night has characters named Charlie Brewster, Peter Vincent. The Vegas Magician theme was stupid when they could have done a TV reality monster hunting show theme better, which they did in Friday Night 2 2013, which was a better, more proper remake. I still think that... I'm sorry, I think that movie sucks too. I know Mike likes it, but I think the Friday Night 2 from 2013 is a piece of shit as well. Evil Ed Thompson, Amy, Jerry Dandridge, Charlie's mother. Yeah, just crappy versions of those characters. Still had Ed and Jerry killed, but done in shitty looking CGI, not as impactful. Still had Amy becoming a vampire like in the original, but no impact. The original had practical, where vampires are all CGI looking and shitty. With here, when you say don't compare it to the original, it's okay to compare it to the original. And what about The Fly and the Blob? It's because I don't compare Fright Night to The Fly and the Blob because David Cronenberg's Fly and Chuck Russell's The Blob. Those two are as far as distant from the original as they possibly can. Fright Night Remake is not the case. It just rearranges some stuff, changes some things around saying, hey, we're different. I'm like, no, you're not different enough. Your differences don't work. They're stupid and pointless, like changing around Peter Vincent to become an unlikable rich magician rather than a TV star, which thankfully Fright Night 2 2013 did right. I don't agree. I think I think both films suck. Pretty much changed Charlie from a likable flawed teen boy to a likable dick. The Blob and The Fly were remakes that stood on their own 2 feet without feeling like being attached to the originals and stood on their own way more than the Fright Night remake did. Which is a shame, you know? Yeah, the remake sucks. Loved Tommy Boy since age 13, seen it in theaters and been one of my favorite comedies since. The deer scene was hilarious when it was ripping through the car. Yeah. Like I said, Tommy Boy is a very fun, very funny movie. Good rant on RoboCop 2014, or RoboCroc of shit. I couldn't believe I paid to see that piece of shit in theaters. I can't wait for Mike's RoboCop ranting commentary, as I'm sure it'll be painful for him to see that piece of shit again. I look forward to it too, because Mike has not done a commentary before, and I think he can do it. So I'm very curious to have him. I'm very curious to see him do a commentary for it. I know he's going to do it sometime. I don't know when. But again, he's never done a commentary before, and I'd be very curious to see. It's a shame Richard Donner passed away. He was a talented director I grew up with. We all did. His legacy shall live on. Yes, rest in peace, Richard Donner. So glad you enjoyed Batman Beyond. I did since I was 17 when it aired, and been one of my favorites, and love Return of the Joker in his uncut form as they have balls and all. Sincerely, Jonathan Lindsey. Thank you for that. I'll put it over here because I do keep these. Because I think I took the time to write it. That was pretty kind of him, you know. And thank you for the gifts. Very cool gifts. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.